Many people live lives at the extremes of the pendulum. They're either overwhelmed by everybody telling them to suck it up all the time by themselves, or they become fragile because people around them do all the work for them. First position of the pendulum, suck it up culture. I have a colleague who was born in the US in the 1960s. When she was around 7 or 8 years old, when the rest of her classmates were starting to read, she couldn't do it. She wasn't able to see the letters properly. She cried to her parents, but they said, suck it up, work harder. So she would ask her teachers what she had to read for the next day and go home and practice it. And it worked. In class, she was able to avoid being embarrassed. But during tests, when she had to read things that were new to her, she couldn't do it. So she started to fail. Her teachers just said, suck it up. You're stupid. Just deal with it. So she had to drop out of school and work odd jobs. At the age of 16, she got pregnant. And her and the father of the child got married because it's the Christian thing to do. After another year, they had a second child. Now her husband constantly abused her. He called her stupid, and she gained weight after her second child, so he called her fat. He openly cheated on her. But she stayed with him because he had a stable paycheck and she thought, this is probably the best I could do. She was miserable, but she sucked it up and she got by. Second position of the pendulum, transitioning between suck it up culture to accommodation culture. In the late 1980s, she was told that she had dyslexia and that she wasn't stupid. That angered her. Why did she have to experience all of that humiliation when she had a real problem? Why didn't anybody believe her? Well, that lit a fire under her. She went back to school, and now that dyslexia was more widely understood, they gave her accommodations for her assignments and tests, and she was able to finish high school and went on to become a social worker. As she started to accomplish things, she began to realize her own self-worth. So she finally left her husband. And she made it a point to not let what happened to her happen to anybody else. She felt that we should always believe another person when they say that something's wrong. Just because we don't know what's going on with them yet, doesn't mean that what they have isn't real. Now, she went into practice as a counselor, and one of her first clients was a person who had chronic pain. But back then, people didn't think that chronic pain was a real thing. So she stepped up and she advocated for him. She helped him to get disability benefits. She got him an apartment that was subsidized. He was anxious when talking to people over the phone, so she would call up various agencies and companies for him. She felt good that she was helping this man out, and he felt good that he was being supported. Third position of the pendulum, the limit of accommodation culture. Over time, her client became dependent on her. He was calling her at all hours of the day and night to get her to do things for him. And after about a year, he could no longer afford to pay for her. She continued to see him for free because she felt that he needed it. But she had bills to pay. She had children to take care of. She had chores to do. And starting a new practice with very few clients, yet one of them taking up a lot of her time and energy and not paying, well, she couldn't do it anymore. So after 3 months, she said to him, I'm sorry, but I really can't help you out anymore. Here are a few agencies that might be able to help you out. But by this point, he got so used to her helping him out that when she stopped, it completely overwhelmed him and he became suicidal. She had to send him to the hospital and they admitted him into a psychiatric ward. She felt horrible. Her good intentions turned out to make such a mess of things. Fourth position of the pendulum, back to center. After that client, my colleague realized that despite all the negatives of suck it up culture, it did help her to become tough. Of course, she did need resources and accommodations to preserve her dignity and offer her more choices in life, like a career and leaving her husband. But her experience with that client helped her to understand that resources and accommodations are best used to help people develop skills to help themselves, and not just to be used out of charity. Many people with chronic illnesses live lives at the extremes of the pendulum. They're either overwhelmed by everybody telling them to suck it up all the time by themselves, or they become fragile because people around them do all the work for them. In what position is the pendulum in your life? And in what position are you putting others in their lives?